What? No audio? Maybe pump up the volume. Ooh, nice sound effect. And here it is again, this time with a music bed. Oh, much better, don't you think? Music is life, and when it comes to motion graphics, audio can feel more than half of the experience. So in this tutorial, I want to show you how I score an animation, add a few sound effects, and mix everything together so the final piece looks, feels, and sounds much stronger. This short piece was inspired by, or perhaps shamelessly borrowed from, Santi Zoreizes' beautiful spot for the Mat Go Plus e-bike. Or perhaps it's Mate Go Plus, who knows? What I can tell you for sure is that Santi's work is a huge inspiration to me, and I'll put links to both the original spot and his website below. For my much more modest version, I created the final two shots using a free bicycle model from Sketchfab, along with a few native 3D meshes inside After Effects. It's not as polished as the original, but I'm not even advertising the same product. It may actually be the competition. Hopefully, nobody sues me. Either way, this gives me the perfect opportunity to show you my approach to sound design and how Adobe Firefly and Adobe Audition can help with the process. So let's take a look at the workflow. So before we get to the audio part, here's a quick visual overview of how I created the animation. Just in case you are only here for the sound, feel free to skip ahead to the next chapter. So as you can see, the Santa Cruz V10 downhill bicycle model that I downloaded from Sketchfab came with some rather vivid colors, which didn't really suit the look I was going for. So I brought the model into Substance 3D Stager, which is quite similar to the now discontinued Adobe Dimension, which, by the way, is still available and included with your Creative Cloud subscription. Anyway, inside Stager, I desaturated the textures and reorganized the different parts of the model, which allowed me to export the body, pedals, and wheels separately so I could animate each part independently inside After Effects. You can do the same thing in almost any 3D application, including Cinema 4D, Blender, or whatever software you enjoy arguing with. Once the bike was animated, and yes, I know it's technically a bicycle, I added a few extra elements using After Effects' native 3D meshes. These elements help to create a follow-through motion and guide the viewer's eye through the composition. Again, I'm mostly studying, mimicking, and politely stealing ideas from the original spot. I also added several lights, some of them casting shadows, and then animated the elements, particularly the bicycle and the camera, so everything leads up naturally towards the title. And of course, this cute little traffic cone settling into its place. The entire animation took around 3 hours to create, and I did most of it while watching the World Cup. Go England! So now we are ready to add some sound effects and music. The first thing I'll do is render this composition so we have a reference video that we can bring into Firefly, and then we can generate the audio, and later also to Audition, where I usually mix everything together. I'll jump into my browser and then go to firefly.adobe.com, and here on the main page I'll click on the audio tab, and then at the time of this recording at least I can see two options, so naturally I'll choose the one called Generate Sound Effects. I'll start by uploading my reference video that I just rendered out of After Effects. And now we can begin having some AI fun. I can use this prompt box to describe the type of sound I'm looking for and then guide the timing using my own fabulous vocal performance. By the way, this is one of my hidden talents and I'm delighted to finally share it with the world. So I'll begin with some ambient swooshes. And then I'll set the duration to match the length of this clip, in this case 9 seconds. And next I'll click record to add the timing. So it will give me a short countdown and then it's showtime. Whoosh, whoosh. After a short wait, Firefly gives me 4 variations which I can preview in sync with the video. Now, notice that your timing and performance don't need to be perfect. You're simply giving Firefly a general indication of where the sound should happen. We can always adjust the timing of the selected result later. So once you find something that works for you, you can add this to the mini timeline over here, or maybe even create a basic mix directly inside Firefly. But my recommended workflow is to download the WAV file and do the final mix later, which is what I'll do. It will give us much more control. This is so much fun. Let's create another sound effect, this time for the dropping ball. So I'll use the prompt ball, drop and bounce, and then repeat the same stages. Boom, 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 boom. By the way, when a prompt doesn't give you the result you're expecting to get, simply modify it and try again. Usually you don't even need to record another performance. For example, I can simplify the prompt to maybe just a ball drop and then generate again. As far as I can tell, these generations usually cost around 2 or 3 credits, sometimes even less. I couldn't find a completely clear price breakdown, but it is affordable enough that you can experiment several times until you get something useful. So I'll continue generating a few more sound effects in the same way, download the best versions and save them for the mixing stage inside Audition. Now let's use another Firefly feature to create the music bed. So I'll return to the main Firefly screen and choose audio and then generate soundtrack. Then I'll upload the reference video again. Firefly automatically analyzes the clip and create a suggested prompt for us. So I can use this as a starting point or modify the result by adjusting the vibe, style, purpose, energy and tempo. And as with most AI tools, iteration is the name of the game. So feel free to modify it until you land on something that you like. Notice that every generation currently uses 3 credits, so keep that in mind. But for me, this is still a bit of a no-brainer. So I'll generate several options until I find something that clicks with this animation. sounds like it could work. However, like many AI-generated tracks, it doesn't finish with a satisfying final chord. So we'll need to fix that later. Luckily, it is quite an easy fix, as you will see shortly, especially if you are going to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you won't regret it. Now, of course, this is only one possible way to work. Many of you probably already have a sound effects and music library that you rely on. You may also have a subscription to a stock audio website, or perhaps you record your own sounds by walking around the house and dropping things on the floor. Whatever works. Firefly is simply another tool to generate royalty-free sound effects that have a reasonable chance of matching the timing and action in your video. Regardless of where the audio comes from, we are now ready to bring everything into a dedicated mixing application and finally finish the soundtrack. Now let's bring all the assets, including the reference video, into Adobe Audition and begin the mixing stage. I'm choosing Audition because it is a powerful digital audio workstation, and more importantly, it is the one I feel comfortable using. But you can do this in almost any editing application, DAW or NLE that supports multi-track audio. So first I'll create our new multi-track session, then I'll import the reference video along with the music bed and all the assets, the sound effects that we've generated. I'll place the reference video on the video track so I can see the animation while I work, and I'll bring the music onto its own track and position it so it will begin at the right moment. Then I'll add the sound effects to separate tracks, which makes it much more easier to control in terms of volume, timing, and of course, I can process each one of them independently. Now I can move each sound effects into its place and start to trim the clips so they match the action more closely. And remember, the AI timing only gave us a starting point. This is where we make everything feel properly connected to the animation. So I'll start adjusting the clip volume and track level so none of the individual sounds overpower the mix. The music should support the animation and not sit on top of it wearing muddy boots. I can also use panning, EQ, reverb, delay, and plethora of effects that are here for my disposal, for each sound occupying its own space. Now, let's fix the ending of the music. The generated track simply stops without reaching a satisfying final chord. So to solve this, I'll start playing until I find the suitable chord or musical moment from another part of the track that I can use. I think I'm going to cut it over here. Then I can bounce it to another track, and to the entire track I can add a reverb effect, so the final chord rings out naturally. Let's have a listen and see how this sounds. I think it sounds much better, intentional rather than interrupted by a power cut. Now, as much as I enjoy doing it, I won't bore you with every tiny adjustment because much of this process is repetitive and audio mixing, to be honest, is not the main focus of this channel. So I'll skip forward to the finished session, and at this stage, all the files are placed correctly, the effects are synchronized, and I've checked that nothing is too loud or too quiet. From here, I can export the multi-track mixdown as an uncompressed file, and then I can return back to After Effects and import the finished WAV and place it inside the original composition. This also means that I can include the final soundtrack with the project file when it is time for delivery. So this is how it looks and sounds. And that is my almost step-by-step breakdown of how I create audio for motion graphics projects. I'm curious to know about your workflow. Do you mix your audio inside your editing software, use a dedicated application like Audition, or simply turn everything up until the neighbors complain? And what do you think about using AI to generate sound effects or music beds? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for watching, listening, and I will see you and hear you next time.